What is up? Vlog? It's not even YouTube anymore. I just do this because it's like a vlog. It's like journaling, but like, you know, in a video format. Because sometimes I get lazy. The date today is the 10th of April. As you can see, new haircut. You already know what is up. Yeah, I mean, I have some other videos coming out, but this one specifically is just gonna talk about how I fumbled. Supposedly, I fumbled a pretty girl. You know, I don't know if she's a nice girl, but she certainly looks okay. And it feels like this huge loss, you know. I'm trying to be better with not avoiding my emotions, but rather tackling them directly. So this is me practicing, you know, tackling these emotions. Because basically, the way I grew up led me to develop a very anxious, avoidant attachment style. You know, my environment growing up, I didn't have a lot of. It was an environment conducive of displaying emotion and working through emotion. I have it somewhere in my. I have it somewhere in my notes, what I wrote. I realized due to okay, so let me read out my journal. I realized due to childhood experiences that I've developed an anxious attachment style, anxious avoidant attachment style. I realized that a lot of the times in my childhood, I didn't have the right environment to process and work through emotions. Instead, I learned to avoid, suppress, and invalidate my emotions. This was the case as that's what my parents did. My parents went through a divorce and somehow they managed to not show any emotion. It seemed like nothing was going on, all smiles all around, when in reality, divorce sucks. Okay, you feel like shit, you're stressed, you're uncertain with life, you know, you're splitting with your partner. And I think that seeing that emotionless reaction taught me to do the same. I'm not blaming my parents, obviously. It's just a matter of my circumstances. They were obviously dealing with their issues. But what I'm saying is, the environment I grew up in led me to become who I am today, right? And I can still change that. I can still change my environment. I can still change, you know, the future. But I think the first step is definitely recognizing why you are the way you are. So, you know, I mirrored what I saw. So seeing avoidant and self-deluding positivity set the precedent to avoid. That's what I wrote. You know, and then maybe some of you know, but I dabbled in some substances, you know, some vapes, some cigarettes, and all of this stuff. And in hindsight, it was a form of escapism from my internal turbulence. That's exactly what I wrote. Not sure how this occurred, but I know when I felt uncomfortable emotions that these vices were there to suppress and avoid and numb those feelings. I think you can see a theme, kind of just like ignore, avoid, suppress, that kind of stuff. And then I'll read the next. Everyone's imperfect. The following points are not meant to disrespect or offend the relevant parties, but rather an attempt to isolate the root cause of why I am the way I am and undo any cyclic behaviors that are not productive to me and rather self-destructive to me. And I just go on to kind of critique my parents and, you know, outline, you know, their kind of attachment styles. I'm not going to put that out there, but yeah, I realized, like, as I grow up, I realized my parents are not perfect, and neither am I. Nobody is perfect. And I think there's power and control in, like, having knowledge of, like, oh, my parents, you know, have these certain logical processes of thinking. And, you know, maybe it's toxic at some times, and, you know, this leads to that, and, you know, it triggers me like this. And I just think it's productive to understand people, because then you don't hold this resentment inside. You're not like, oh, my dad's screaming at me because he like hates me. He's just screaming at me because, you know, he's stressed throughout the day, and I just happen to be there in the presence of him and did a small mistake, kind of thing. So it's more about damage control, I think, is the for like external people. But I think it's important to know in yourself your kind of thought processes. And how do you get to know that's the question. Well, first of all, I want to rewrite my muscle memory. When stressed, I don't want to self-destruct, shut down, and avoid. That's what I wrote. I want to work through how I am feeling and tackle the issues head on. This is how I can live a fulfilling life, get clarity and peace, build self-respect and resilience, and have better relationships. I think that's a big one. Just like have a better internal dialogue and just be like healthier in my mind. I think that's a good goal. And the way I do that is, you know, what's the opposite of avoid is to confront. And it's uncomfortable to confront, and it's very familiar to avoid. You know, the unknown is kind of scary. Well, for me at least, maybe for other securely attached people who had this holistic, wholesome family atmosphere and childhood, they wouldn't understand. You know, I'm not saying I'm some freaking misunderstood, you know, I need your pity kind of thing, but yeah, what I'm saying is the opposite of avoid is to confront. How do you confront? Well, first of all, if you're feeling uncomfortable, like, it's for a reason, right? And you kind of have to dig down. What's the reason? But a lot of people, when they feel uncomfortable, their first thing is go to a vice to numb this discomfort. And I'm like, I mean, you know, I'm guilty. Raise my hand, show my bicep. Oh, check this out. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm guilty. I think a lot of people reach to their vices, and there's a lot of rich information in discomfort. It's kind of, the way I see it is, it's data. It's information telling you like, oh, I'm uncomfortable because of this thing, right? But a lot of people, as soon as they hit this wall of discomfort, they're like, all right, vice instantly. Oh, let me scroll Instagram. Let me smoke a cigarette. Let me do this. And I'm guilty. But I think, as I said, there's a lot of rich data there. And the way I've come to think about it is, you should set aside some time in the day to just be like, what do I feel? I feel like a lot of the times, you know, in this generation specifically, like, there's so much stimulation all the time everywhere that you don't get to have your own thoughts. You have everything kind of spoon-fed to you. Like, you feel, you just like, you're being told what to feel kind of thing. You watch Instagram, there's music here in the gym, and then there's these things, these billboards, and everything is just so much stuff. Well, at least for me. And I find if I'm being spoon-fed all this information, like, I'm processing the information rather than processing internal stuff. The external stuff is all external information. I forgot where I read this, but humans have on average 22,000 thoughts a day. 22,000, something absurd. Like, it's a lot of thoughts, right? And like, most of them are negative, and also it's just a lot of information. And I feel like you need to set aside some time to just be like, consolidate your thoughts. I know a lot of people, myself included, you know, from the moment they wake up, they're using devices all the way to the moment they sleep. And, you know, that's not very good. It's a lot of information, it's inundating, you're numbing your feelings, and you're asking yourself, why am I stressed for no reason? Like, you know, I'm in this house, I have a roof over my head, I have food on the table, and why do I feel bad? It's because you haven't well, first of all, you're frying your dopamine, but also you haven't really sat with yourself and like asked yourself, like, how do I actually feel outside of all this constant stimulation, all this information being bombarding me. So yeah, set aside some time and just be like, yo, how do I feel? And why do I feel this way? And like sit in that discomfort. So this is me practicing. Yeah, my friend Kurt, now moving on, my friend Kurt introduced me to this girl. We won't say her name. We'll call her Cactus. We'll call her Cactus because you're behind a cactus, okay? Yeah. We'll call her Cactus, right? So my friend Kurt introduced me to Cactus. And, he was just like, oh, she's moving to London and like, she wants some tips on how to, settle in and find a flat. I was thinking, okay, yeah, fine. Like I'll help someone out. But maybe I didn't realize, or at least I've come to realize, that it was Kurt trying to, set me up with her. But I didn't realize that. I was under the guise of like, I just help this person out. And I am the way I am. And I try to be myself authentically. So I wasn't myself. We got to talking, it's a pretty good conversation for like a good couple of days. And, come to find out, she's not feeling me. Just because maybe I'm a little weird, or maybe I post a lot on social media and I'm like, just like not her type. I'm not mysterious. I don't have all this like cool, calm composure that she's looking for, maybe. And like, yeah, I feel a little hurt, but not like I don't hold any resentment. Like I don't hold any resentment. Like, I respect that decision, but it's like, it sucks to be like, this person looked at you and was like, yeah, she's okay, he's okay, kind of thing. It always sucks. Yeah, and I'm just trying to own that feeling of like, it sucks, but you have to be yourself. I have to confront my feelings and realize these feelings are not, they're misplaced, if that makes sense. Like, it's part of the game to be rejected. And like, if you're not being rejected, it means you're not trying. And if you're not trying, then you're not living, right? So it's low-key a blessing in disguise that I got rejected. It means I'm trying. And this, maybe you guys like watching this would be like, oh, this guy's never been rejected before. No. It's like, it's been a bunch of times, right? Like, this is just one of the instances, like, where, I'm talking about this, but like, it's part of the game. This is just me trying to practice owning up to certain emotions and tackling them front on, instead of just like avoiding it and being like, oh, let me hit this vape or something. Yeah. So, Steph Curry shoots 49.3% of his 3-point shots. He makes 49.3%. And you would think Steph Curry is really good. Like, he only shoots less than 50%. Like, so if I'm not even hitting 50%, that's okay. Like, Steph Curry's the GOAT, and he's like, only 49.3%. He's trying. Yeah, so that's me confronting my feelings. It sucks. I get it. I'm not here for any solutions or sympathy. My reflexive emotion is kind of resent, and be like, shoot, should I have been more like mysterious and like thirsty and less like myself, and like just like more like cool, calm, collected? And I'm like, no, like, I should be myself, right? And if they don't like me, then they don't like me. A lot of the times I feel like before, and maybe sometimes even now, I feel like I can't be myself, just because maybe I think I'm a little weird. Um, I think I'm a little like quirky and like whatever it is. Like I feel like that's a kind of I'm quite polar. Like I'm a little bit strange. Um, I don't know if I actually am strange, but maybe I believe I'm strange. Um, and some people don't like that, and it's okay. Um, but yeah, I would say I'm myself, and I think when you are more authentic to yourself, like in alignment with yourself, you risk becoming more polarizing. Um, let's just say, because like the more intensely you are yourself, the more intensely there is between the binary outcome of do you like this person or you don't like this person, right? If I'm less intensely myself, I think that line also blurs between the binary outcome of do you like this person or do you not like this person. Um, so yeah, and I won't tone down myself. Like I just want to be myself, and I understand that like yeah, it kind of sucks. Um, it still sucks to get rejected. Like I think it's healthy for me to feel this suck, um, instead of like just like oh let me just numb it, So yeah, um, one thing I wished, one thing I will do if I have children or people that I care for, or like people that depend on me, is have a healthy relationship with processing emotions and really show that it's like it's okay to fail, and like don't be so hard on yourself, and like process all these negative emotions like in front of these people. Set an example of like life sucks sometimes and you're gonna feel bad, and it's okay, and you're gonna process this, and it takes time to like to heal, not just like physically heal, but like also heal. Like there's a stimulus of the bad thing and the adaptation. um, yeah, I feel like during my childhood, um, not many examples of like healthy emotional processing. Not that I'm dissing. Super grateful for everything in this life, but I'm just saying, when you don't see a lot of healthy examples of emotional processing, you typically don't process emotions well, and I think that can lead one down to a path of suppression through substances and vapes and whatnot. And in boarding school, like who even knows? Like who are you looking up to in boarding school? Like basically nobody. Like um, the role models there is like the jocks and the people who like party and do a lot of drugs. So not very conducive environment, I'll say. But yeah, just checking in. I'm gonna start posting a bit more because exam season is coming up. Like I'm getting to my dissertation and that kind of stuff, so I'm kind of busy. Damn, this lighting is nice. The haircut's nice too. Yeah, I've been told I'm kind of idiosyncratic. I don't know what that means. Like I found out what that means. Basically, I'm peculiar, and I'm like, yeah, I've realized. The reality is very truthful, um, and what you experience is the true thing. Like, so you can be told, oh, you're such a nice person, but like in reality, like the stuff you do, like if the stuff you do is not nice, then you're not a nice person. So I've been told I'm weird, a little bit idiosyncratic, peculiar, and maybe this is me confirming my own bias, and certainly I do believe that. But also, like a lot of the times, I have it has been confirmed. This hypothesis that I am weird has been confirmed on numerous occasions with other girls. And I'm not saying like, oh, I have no success with girls. Like there are girls who like me for me, like all the weirdness of me, and that's great too. But like for some reason in my brain, the the negative aspect of external validation hits harder than the validation, like the positive aspect of external validity. Validity? Too much data science terms. Validation. Yeah. So, you know, I'm not here to like cry and be like, oh my god, my life sucks, I can't do this. Like, it's not deep. I'm pursuing other things in my life. I'm just like, this is one aspect that I want to work on, is like tackling emotions. And this just happened to be an example of me feeling uncomfortable, but me tackling these emotions. So yeah, rant over. Some videos on the way, possibly graduating this year. Oh my fucking go. Yeah, I'm just trying to be more comfortable with myself, and I feel like the first step is to look within and really ask hard-hitting, introspective questions instead of avoiding, and escaping. Escapism is all around. So many avenues to escape. But usually the things worth doing are also the stuff that is slightly more difficult. And, you know, escaping is easy, running away is easy. But like confronting things is harder. And usually that's the thing worth doing, as it's harder. You put more respect on it as well, the harder the challenge is. So yeah, this is a path of building self-respect. Yeah, so take care of yourself.